Once upon a time in a village called Tembo, there lived two twin sisters called Oma and Ada, but Oma was very envious of her twin sister Ada because Ada got married before her to a very wealthy man while Oma was single. So Oma killed Ada and stole her husband. Hold on, let's go back for a moment. Before we continue, let's rewind to where it all started. Oma and Ada were twins, but Oma was the elder one. But they weren't identical. Ada was more beautiful than her elder sister, and this made a lot of guys interested in her. Whenever the both of them are working together, men always wanted to speak with Ada while they neglected her elder sister Oma. This got Oma very jealous, and she gradually developed hatred and envy towards her twin sister. One day, Oma and Ada were walking down the street when a wealthy businessman called Emeka was driving by. He saw Oma and quickly parked his car. Then he went to meet Oma. However, when he was talking to Oma, he saw Ada, her younger sister, and became interested in Ada instead. Emeka eventually asked Ada out, and a few years later, they got married. This fueled Oma's anger as she believed that Emeka belonged to her, and Ada, her younger sister, snatched him from her with her beauty. A few months after Ada's wedding to Emeka, she got pregnant. Her stomach was so protruded that she could hardly do anything with ease. So her sister Oma offered to stay with her and assist with her chores so she could rest often. But when Oma came to Emeka's house, she was astonished at how beautiful and elegant the house was. She instantly fell in love with the house and decided that she would do whatever it took to get rid of her twin sister Ada and dominate her home. One day, when Ada's pregnancy was 8 months old, Ada told her elder sister that she felt like eating boiled yam. Oma, her elder sister, offered to prepare boiled yam for her, but after cooking the boiled yam, Oma poisoned the food so Ada would die a slow death. Ada trusted her elder sister and ate the food. A week later, Ada fell seriously ill and Emeka rushed her to the hospital. The doctor informed Emeka that his wife Ada wouldn't survive and advised that they perform a surgery on her and save her child. Emeka had no choice but to accept the doctor's advice. But when the surgery was carried out, it was discovered that Ada was pregnant with twins, but due to the poison her elder sister gave her, there were some complications and the twins would be conjoined. They would share the same organs but have separate brains so they could think differently for themselves. Shortly after the twins, Amora and Aisha, were removed from Ada's womb, she passed away. Emeka loved his wife Ada and wept deeply after her death. He loved the Amora and Aisha so much because they looked exactly like Ada, his late wife, but he was a businessman who was mostly busy. So he called on Oma and pleaded with her to move in with him, so she could take care of the twins since her sister wasn't alive to take care of the children. Oma instantly agreed because that had been her plan all along, to kill her twin sister and take over her husband and home. 6 years later, when Amora and Aisha had reached a good age, Emeka's mother suggested that Emeka should get married to Oma since she was Ada's twin and elder sister, so Oma would take care of her sister's children as her own. Emeka initially protested but eventually accepted what his mother had said for the sake of the twins. Emeka got married to Oma and she officially became his wife. 1 year after Emeka got married to Oma, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Oma instantly changed towards her twin sister's children when she had her own child. She started maltreating Amora and Aisha, and treated them like slaves. She would beat them at the slightest provocation and punish them for unreasonable reasons. As Oma's child grew, Oma showed her son so much love, but she treated the twins with disdain. She hardly fed them or took care of them. Whenever Emeka was at home, Oma would pretend to be loving and caring towards Amora and Aisha, but whenever Emeka was absent, she would treat them like slaves. Oma refused to let her son do chores at home. The twins would struggle to clean the house, wash the plates, cook their food and wash all the clothes in the house. This made Oma's son to be very lazy and wayward. One day, Omar sent Amora and Aisha to fetch her some water for the refrigerator. After fetching the water, on their way to deliver the glass of water to Omar, the glass cup slipped from their hand and broke on the floor. Omar got very enraged and charged at Amora and Aisha, beating them with all her strength. The twins had to run away from the house before Omar would kill them. Omar locked the door and warned them never to come in. When this happened, Emeka had traveled to another country on a business trip, so Amora and Aisha had no one to help them. They stayed outside the door until night, knocking and knocking, but Omar refused to open the door for them. Eventually, they left the compound and started roaming the streets. They had no one to run to. The only people they knew were Omar and their father Emeka. After roaming for a few days with no one to help them, the twins decided to sit by the roadside and beg for money and food. Day by day, with the money that generous people gave them, they fed themselves and slept in an uncompleted building every night. When their father Emeka returned from his business trip after some days, Omar told him that Amora and Aisha ran away because they didn't want to wash the plates. Omar convinced Emeka that the conjoined twins were spoilt and arrogant. She assured Emeka that they would return after some days. Emeka believed her and carried on like the twins never existed. He was more concerned about his only son because in his tribe, a male child is far more crucial than a dozen female children. One day, they were by the roadside as always, when a businessman called Danjuma, who was on his way to the north to buy some gold, got robbed by armed robbers. They took his car, his money, his gold and everything on him. Danjuma was stranded because the robbers took him for everything he had. All the people passing by refused to assist him, but the conjoined twins witnessed all that happened and took pity on Danjuma. They gave him all the money they were fortunate to get for that day despite the fact they didn't know him. Danjuma was touched by their generosity. He thanked them profusely, then got a cab back to his home with the money the Amora and Aisha offered him. The next day, Danjuma sought the twins. He came with another car and took Amora and Aisha to his house. He thanked them once again for helping him and told them to ask for anything. He promised them that he would grant whatever they wished. Amora and Aisha debated between themselves and decided that Danjuma should send them to a fashion designing school abroad so they could learn how to make designer clothes and create their own brand. Danjuma was impressed by their intelligence. Other people would have asked for money, but the twins were visionaries. Danjuma sent them to a fashion designing school in Paris and paid for all they would need during their stay while studying in the school. Amora and Aisha did everything they could to emerge the best. They studied like addicts and eventually graduated with first-class honors. When they got back to their town, Danjuma was so proud of them and treated them like his daughters. He gave them some money to start up a big fashion brand of their own, and in a matter of months, their brand went viral. They started making a lot of money from their venture. They named their brand Ada's Touch as a way to immortalize their mother, who they never got the chance to meet. Meanwhile, Omar's son had grown into an adult over the years that Amora and Aisha left. However, he was a nuisance to himself and the family. Emeka was fed up with him, and his mother Omar was constantly on her toes because her son went around causing trouble and joining dangerous fraternities. Omar's son was arrested so many times that Emeka's business started to crumble due to rumors of his son being a fraud and the frequent times he's had to bail his son from the police station. One unfortunate day, Omar was at home when some police officers came to look for her. They bluntly told her that her son was killed in a shootout with some robbery suspects. Omar instantly held her chest as soon as she got the news and fell unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital. After some diagnosis, the prognosis the doctor gave them suggested that Omar had a mild heart attack which affected her heart deeply, and she would need a huge amount of money for her to have a heart transplant, else she would die. Emeka's business was crumbling and he had to sell everything he had just to raise the money for her surgery. But when the doctor started the surgery, they told Emeka that Omo's case was spiritual and not a natural phenomenon. Emeka had to consult a spiritualist who told him that Oma killed her sister and chased Amora and Aisha away. The spiritualist also told him that only the forgiveness of his daughters can save her. Amma was on the hospital bed one day, watching the television set in her ward when she saw Amora and Aisha on the television. They appeared very rich and famous. The TV presenter was talking about their struggles and rise to stardom. Amma screamed and almost jumped out of bed when the TV presenter mentioned their net worth. Emeka quickly rushed inside the ward when he heard Amma scream. Amma showed him what was playing on the television. Emeka became very shocked. He had thought Amora and Aisha were dead since he didn't set eyes on them since the day Amma told him they ran away because they didn't want to wash the plates. Emeka felt deeply hurt for abandoning his kids and being so busy that he didn't bother looking for them. But he also felt very happy, knowing that his children were still alive, just when he had lost his son a few days ago. Emeka tried to locate Amora and Aisha, and with less difficulty, he got their address, but it was very difficult for him to see them because they were popular and very busy. Fortunately, one day when twins were on their way out, they saw their father Emeka standing outside their gate. They quickly asked the driver to stop and got out of the car to meet him. Emeka went on his knees and pleaded with them to forgive him for neglecting them. Amora and Aisha equally apologized for not returning. They felt their father was aware of Omo's maltreatment but kept quiet intentionally. Their father told them about Omo's condition and pleaded with them to help her. The conjoined twins followed their father to the hospital and met Oma, their aunt. When they saw their aunt, she pleaded with them to forgive her for the way she treated them and also confessed to killing their mother Theda. Oma's confession brings closure, but the twins and Emeka decide to prioritize their own well-being, severing ties with her for good. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share with family and friends. Until next time.